It's been a while since I've actually played and finished Red Dead Redemption 2, and so I figured now would be a good time for me to kind of, sit back, look at, and actually rank and rate the Red Dead Redemption states in order from worst to best, because this was actually a video idea that my mate gave me that actually recommended that I play the Red Dead Redemption games, and I played through them, wondered how I even let these games kind of pass me by, had a lot of fun, and pretty much just had a great time playing through and finishing those games, because while fairly meaty in terms of actual content, the stories are also very good. And it's also worth pointing out that both games look really good given their time frame that they released in, and also voice acting, story, writing, presentation, it's all absolutely top class stuff. So let's actually talk about the states of Red Dead Redemption. So we have right here, so we've got in order of how they appear here at the bottom, we've got Lemoyne, New Hanover, West Elizabeth, Ambarino, and also New Austin. So I'm going to start from bottom and then work my way up. So at the bottom I have Lemoyne. So Lemoyne is a state that I absolutely despise for a couple of reasons. One of them being Saint Denis, because Saint Denis goes against the very thing that I love about nice, cool, good locations, is if you have places that look absolutely beautiful, that are teeming with nature, that is, got a lot of greenery going on, a lot of forestry and forest locations, a lot of water with lakes and locations like that, having a town that is just the epitome of industrialization kind of goes against that very idea in every sense of the way. So I absolutely despise Lemoyne, mainly for the fact that Saint Denis exists in that state, but also the fact that when you look at some of the other locations around the area, you'll notice that Lemoyne is actually fairly small, a fairly small state. Also, for some reason, I don't know why, the cops in Lemoyne, for some reason, are weirdly aggressive, because of all of the states that I managed to rack up a bounty without even intending on racking up a bounty, and not counting any of the story-related stuff, I managed to somehow accrue a bounty so massive that it's not even funny in Lemoyne. It's almost like the cops are always after me for some reason or another, and I'm not really even sure why, but you know what? So, main reasons for disliking Lemoyne is A, Saint Denis sucks. Secondly, the cops are always on your ass. And 3, there's not really that much variety in terms of the actual locations, all things considered. Now we have is the fourth best state in my opinion, which is New Hanover. Now, between number 4 and number 3, you could probably put both of these on the same level, because they're both fairly standard locations. Actually, I won't put it in yet, but I'll put it in after. These are both fairly standard locations where you can see a decent amount of each of the different types of terrain, whether it be a bit of forest, a bit of water, and I kind of don't really have that much negative to say about them. So it's not that they're ranking low because I dislike them. I'm just ranking them low because the actual places that rank higher are just so much better in terms of the towns that they have, the locations. It just all kind of begins to fall in that sort of way. So they're just fairly standard places. Again, you could think of stuff like when it comes to New Hanover, you've got the oil fields, you've got Emerald Ranch, which while it's nice and all, there are other towns that are significantly better. You've got stuff like Valentine that also falls under there. And if I remember right, I'm pretty sure Strawberry should also be in New Hanover, if I'm remembering this correctly. Actually, no, I'm wrong. No, it's not. But yeah, so Valentine, again, it's just some towns. I don't have anything particularly positive to say about those towns. The oil fields, again, that kind of goes against the idea of like a really cool, nice looking sort of, especially like nature filled location. And my bias is going to really start showing when I'm especially talking about stuff like places that are filled with lots of water, lakes, waterfalls, and trees and greenery and all of that stuff. So like, I'm going to get very biased in that sense. But number 3 is going to be New Austin. Now, New Austin is only, I guess, here because you get access to the area after you finish RDR 2's main story, and a decent amount of RDR 1 does take place here. Though the reason why I put New Austin here is just because it appears in RDR 1 and gets a lot more, I feel like, screen time. You have a lot more familiarity with the locations. Granted, stuff like Armadillo is more dead in RDR 2, but then becomes an actual town in RDR 1. You've got stuff like the McFarlane Ranch, which was a really nice location in RDR 1. And already like Armadillo and McFarlane Ranch from RDR 1 already, supersede this, stuff like Valentine, for example, in New Hanover. Yeah, again, in my opinion, New Austin just feels like a more fleshed out location because it has more towns and things like that. And then we've got stuff like the events that happen at Fort Mercer, which still feel more interesting than what you would expect to see. And if you do want to go to something a little bit different that isn't quite a greenish location, like there's a decent amount of desert here with Tumbleweed and Gaptooth Ridge. But like I said, New Austin only barely gets over New Hanover just because of Armadillo and McFarlane Ranch being better locations than Valentine, in my opinion. That being said, however, I kind of maybe given the game away with number 2, because I was talking about it earlier, is West Elizabeth. Now, West Elizabeth, you could argue, is fairly similar to that of New Austin and New Hanover in terms of location, but what West Elizabeth... Okay, let's put it this way. West Elizabeth has a few things going on that actually put it heads and shoulders above New Austin and New Hanover. Firstly is Strawberry. This town is absolutely delightful to go through. It's a small town. People are kind of living their lives. They've got like, a little spinny wheel thing. And like, if there's any town that I personally would have wanted to live in during this period of time on this map, I would 100% pick Strawberry. It is just the best town to go through. It's just nice, peaceful, tranquil, has a decent amount of water going through the actual town itself with the water wheel thing, whatever you want to call it, I can't remember, and then a decent amount of forest and greenery going around it. Then you've got places like Big Valley, you've got Tall Trees. Again, Tall Trees looks absolutely incredible going through it. You've got the Great Plains, a decent amount of greenery there. Like, I feel that West Elizabeth is more nature filled than New Austin and New Hanover, because New Austin is a decent amount in desert, whereas with New Hanover you've got a decent amount of greenery, sure, but like the towns and locations aren't particularly notable, whereas, like I said, in my opinion, Strawberry is just the greatest town to go through every single time. And it kind of is, again, my favorite town in the entire series, I want to say. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I think I can say that with absolutely no thought about it. That is absolutely the case. And some people might not like West Elizabeth because it does fall under where Blackwater is. Blackwater serves more of a purpose in Red Dead 1 than it does in Red Dead 2. But in saying that, Red Dead 2 does lead to Red Dead 1. So depending on how you want to look at it from a story perspective, you could kind of fall either way on that. And that finally leaves us with the last state that I have here. Ambarino. Number freaking 1. I love Ambarino. And the reason why largely falls under the fact that there is a lot of excellent locations, a lot of great sites. Like, if photo mode was made for this game specifically, I want to say it was specifically made for Ambarino. Because while the views and locations are nice in some places, I feel like Ambarino has the greatest accumulation of really nice looking vistas. They've got, you know, like, they've got snowy locations, especially up in the Grizzlies. You've got the Indian grounds. You've got a lot of greenery. It's largely away from a lot of towns, and it's filled with a lot of nature. Because I think when I was talking to my mate about the locations that I liked, I told him, like, I really like Ambarino because it's away from all of the towns. That I was a lot more down on ranking the 9 towns, which I might do in a later video. But the fact of the matter is that places like Cumberland Forest, Grizzlies East, these are all extremely cool locations to go through, to just ride through on your horse and just forget that you're even in the middle of a mission. You've got the Indian reservation as well. Like, there's a lot of history, nice, cool things to talk about. And don't forget that there's also a decent amount of rivers and lakes that kind of add to the nature. And you might think, well, you know, there are rivers and lakes in other states as well. And while you're absolutely right, I think they serve more of a purpose in making Ambarino look more beautiful than it does in any other state, because I don't think nature is really like to the forefront of how you would sell this particular type of this state to other people. So just to kind of sum things up in short, we have at the bottom, Lemoyne. Absolutely hate Saint-Denis, and it kind of really brings down the whole state down with it. And it also doesn't help matters that for some reason the cops are always on you, and I also don't like Rhodes as a town. Then you've got New Hanover, which between New Hanover and New Austin, you could swap it either way. Though New Austin, for me personally, you know, goes a little bit higher because in Red Dead 1, you've got McFarlane Ranch and Armadillo. So Armadillo is actually more populated in Red Dead 1 than it is in Red Dead 2. And of course you have McFarlane Ranch, which is actually a really nice location, especially at the beginning of Red Dead 1. Albeit that Red Dead 2, like I said, you don't really see that many people, but that's kind of what has it over the edge over New Hanover, whereas New Hanover is just a fairly like, that is why I would say is pH neutral for this entire map. Number 2, we have West Elizabeth, and that's largely carried by Strawberry, as well as locations like Tall Trees and the Great Plains for greenery as well. But nature is greatest at the top, and number 1 we have Ambarino. So yeah, that's kind of like a small little summary of why I like certain locations and why I, you know, valued one over the other, whether it be if 2 of them are similar enough, what kind of locations make them better. And in this case, between New Hanover and New Austin, it was just about the locations and what they meant. Whereas Ambarino had significantly more nature over West Elizabeth, which is why over West Elizabeth, that's why Ambarino was my personal number 1 at the top. But with all that being said though, I am going to link this tier list in the description below, so please give it a try to create your own tier list, and also let me know what your tier list is in the comments below. With all that being said, however, I do upload every day. Comment below, like the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.